Wall Street, though, ended the week in a shudder. We have it all covered. Let's begin with what triggered the panic. Let's bring in Nicholas Economides, professor of economics at NYU's Leonard and Stern School of Business. Always great to see you.
Thank you.
Well, Nicholas, the market says we saw it didn't react very well to July's jobs data. What is your take on this? And, here we are at the end of summer. Isn't this typically a slower time of year for jobs?
Well, I think there is a couple of things. First of all, there is a general sentiment that maybe the high-tech companies are overpriced, and that's why they went down. They were the primary reason why the indices went down. Additionally, it looks like the Fed made a mistake. It didn't anticipate the numbers that we saw today, and it did not cut interest rates a few days ago. Instead, now it will have to cut interest rates more sharply in September, most likely 0.5%, and it's also likely that it will have to cut interest rates again, another 0.5% pretty soon, maybe December.
I'll get to the Fed in just a second, but which factors, we are hearing some sectors seeing a slowdown, but which industries would you say performed the strongest so far?
Well, I'll tell you which ones didn't do well. The general retail is not doing well. The retail food like McDonald's is not doing well. Housing is hard to sell because mortgages are high, and because mortgages are high, people who have mortgages at a low rate before don't want to sell because then they will have to have a mortgage at a high rate. So it's not just the regular buyers that don't want to buy, but the sellers also don't want to sell. So these are big parts of the economy, and they have problems. So inflation, which was created at the beginning of this administration, has become a disaster for the American economy.
We've been hearing the R word a lot today, the word recession, actually off and on for the last couple of years. What are your thoughts on a recession?
Well, it's possible, but remember there is this huge fiscal expansion. That is, the government is handing out money hand over fist, and that's a lot of money. So this is not really contributing to a recession. On the other hand, the reaction by the Fed to increase interest rates very significantly, as it has done, it increased the probability of a recession. So I would say between now and the end of the year, the probability of a recession is about 30%. At the same time, because we have elections in November, I think there will be a lot of effort by the government to make sure that there is no recession before the elections.
So do you think if the Fed did cut interest rates on Wednesday, we would not see what we're seeing on Friday, or would it not have been as much?
Well, we wouldn't see the sell-off. People would feel more comfortable that the Fed knows what it's doing and it's not behind the curve. See, here, the Fed did not intervene increasing interest rates until after the Russia invasion of Ukraine, while inflation had been created from the early first days of the Biden administration. So they were way late. And now we see again, they're way late in reacting. So that's a problem. And I don't think that the market likes to be surprised.
When it comes to the jobs report that was released, I mean, how do you think voters are looking at that? What do you think their impressions are of the labor market? And is it really a reflection of what they're actually experiencing in real time?
Well, keep in mind, the voters cannot see the whole economy. So all the stuff that we say here, economists, journalists, and so on, the average voter doesn't understand, doesn't see, doesn't perceive. What they see is high prices, and they're extremely upset about that. And even if I told them, well, look, the inflation is going to slow down, it is slowing down already, and so on, they will still say, but look, the level of prices are high, and I'm really upset about it. So that's one thing that counts against the administration. What counts for the administration is that for the moment, we have full employment. We're very close to full employment. So the voters have to take those factors into consideration, together, of course, with all kinds of other social factors, domestic policy, foreign policy, and so on.
And I know you mentioned that you don't think the administration or they will try to prevent any kind of recession before the November election, but we still have a lot of time. How much can the economy actually change between now and then? Because that is one of the top issues for voters in the United States.
I don't know how much can actually change, but some things can change pretty quickly if the interest rates are changed. So suppose that the interest rate was reduced tomorrow, then by next week, the mortgage rates were going to fall significantly, not to the level that they were a few years ago, but significantly, 1 to 2%. They could fall significantly. So that will be felt by anybody who is thinking of buying a house. Now, the impact in the retail sector, in other sectors, it will take time. So in some way, the fact that the Fed missed the opportunity to cut interest rates yesterday is not good for the prospects of re-election of the Biden administration.
All right, Professor Nicholas Economides, thank you so much for joining us from New York.
Thank you.